Imagine sounding like two guitars at once, without learning a single finger picking pattern. Norwegian Wood makes it possible. This Beatles arrangement teaches you to weave melody into rhythm using pure strumming, hammer-ons that feel effortless, inversions that flow naturally, and single notes that ring through sustained chords.
What do you think, George Harrison, of the Beatles?
I don't know, I'm just trying to get some more songs on the album,
And as Ringo Starr, I'm not so interested in meditation. I just like to have fun.
I like the little one.
Hey everyone, I'm AJ Hansen with Level Up Your Guitar, where I teach cool songs organized into level-based playlists that make you better fast. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I drop fresh lessons every week. Tab sheet music is in the description, transcribed by yours truly. When you want private lessons, scan the QR code down there or check the link below. Alright, so bear with me. I'm getting over a cold, and of course, today, December 18th is my 40th birthday, so that's my gift to me, but my gift to you is teaching Norwegian Wood. And this is the way I like to teach it because a lot of people want to play a fingerstyle arrangement, number one, of a lot of Beatles songs, which is understandable, but sometimes doing fingerstyle guitar can get a little bit complex. So while this is in the spirit of a fingerstyle song, we're just going to be strumming everything. So we don't have to get too complex with the right hand. We're just strumming and doing some individual picking. So when we look at the verse, we're mostly going to be playing around a D major chord and then an inversion of a D major chord, a brief foray into the C major chord, which is going to be the single note passage, and then back to D major. So let's jump into this and check out what's going on. All right, so make sure you're capoed at fret 2. In the first measure, we're starting on this D major, and we've got a down, down, up, down. And we're in 6/8, so it's got this waltzy feel to it. Then in the second beat, we're going to have another D major strum, and then we're going to hammer on our pinky to the G string 4th fret from the capo. So let me give you the context from the beginning up to that hammer-on. So that hammer-on, again, it's with a weak finger, but you want to get that. It's kind of a middle ground between a grace note where it's instant, but it's. I thought it was hard to read if I transcribed it as a grace note, but it's. So it's a very quick hammer-on. So after the hammer-on, beat 5, you will strum back to a D major chord, and then peel your index finger off for the final beat. So the second half of the measure goes. And now the full measure. And then we get into the second measure. Now we're going to stretch our pinky while still holding on to at least our middle and ring. You'll probably end up putting the index finger down, so you'll be back to a D major chord, but we need to stretch that pinky to the D string 4th fret from the capo. And we'll have our D major set up, but we're only going to play the 4th string, or the D string. But you can still hear these notes are still ringing out. That's what you want, because it'll glue this all together instead of it sounding choppy. Followed by a down, up, down strum with this full D major / F sharp. One more time. So in the second half of the second measure, you're going to still keep the middle and ring glued down because we do want those to kind of drone out, But now we'll take our index finger to the D string, 2nd fret, followed by the G string open, and then pinky on the D string, 4th fret. So I'll start from the very beginning. And then we would get into the 3rd measure. So that will start with the D string open. So we're coming out of the single note. And now we're finally back to the regular D major chord with a down, up, down strum. So let me start at that 2-0-4 in the previous measure. So again, you can still see I'm not moving the middle or the ring finger, because it'd be ringing out from the previous part. So before we get into the C major section, let me just start it from the beginning. And once a little slower. So again, that ring and middle are staying down the entire time just to keep everything ringing out. So now we're into where there would normally be a C major chord, but we're going to use the melody of the song. And we'll dip into the final measure. So this phrase, you'll use your middle finger on the A string, 2nd fret, and grace note slide into the 3rd fret. Just like that. And then we have the G string open. I like doing an up pick there. So then I'm set up for the next down pick with my index finger on the A string, 2nd fret. And then followed by the A string open in the beginning of measure 4. So beginning measure 3, oops.
Please, God, take me now.
And then in measure 4, again, we're starting with that A string open. Then we've got a down, up, down strum for the first half of the measure. And then the second half of the measure, we'll strum the D chord, but we'll start it with the index finger off of the G string, so it'll be open. And then do a little hammer on there back into the D major shape. And then after that, another down, up, down. So that's the entire verse. Now, before we go into the chorus, because we're already basically halfway done with the song, maybe even touch more because it's going to repeat a lot in the chorus, but let me talk about a couple musical and dynamic things that you can do with this. So this song does start on the recording with just an acoustic guitar basically playing a lot of this. So when you're strumming that, and a little bit of picking, I would recommend strumming over the sound hole or maybe slightly in the back half of the sound hole closer to the bridge. So do that for the intro, and then when you hear the sitar, obviously we're using a guitar, it's not going to sound exactly like it, But when you hear the sitar come in, it's a very bright, high-end instrument. So what you can do is you can bring your arm and pick back even closer to the bridge, so it has more of that high-end attack. So I'll demonstrate the two. So you can hear dynamically the little bit more mellow version versus the bright version. So anytime that sitar comes in, play it a little bit brighter, and then for the rest of the song, for example, when they're singing the lyrics, go back to the acoustic guitar, a little bit more mellow sound, because you don't want that to be bright all the time. But it'll give you a nice contrast, so it's not always the same. And then also for the third measure, where that C major chord comes in, you're doing this. What you can do when it's guitar time, keep it a quick grace note there. But the sitar really stretches that slide, so you can over-exaggerate it. So again, when it's guitar time, it's brum, instantaneously into that note. But when you do it with the sitar style, really stretch that and make that pop out. Something I noticed when after I was transcribing this, I was listening to it, I'm like, it would steer you a little closer to sounding like a sitar as much as we can on this thing, and just get a little bit of that like bleeding into the next note. And doing that really almost obnoxious sort of slide will get you sounding a little bit spiritually towards playing like a sitar. So let's jump into the chorus now. Wrong camera, dude.
I blame myself.
So do I.
Okay, so in the chorus, this is going to be much simpler. The melody is much more stepwise and nothing too crazy going on, and a lot more just straight ahead strumming. Because when the lyrics kick in, the first two measures is where most of the singing happens, and then the last two measures, it opens up before the lyrics come back in. So let's take a look at this. We'll primarily switch from D major to D minor. So there's key change, modulation, however you want to view it. So let me demonstrate it. Alright, so right off the bat we've got a D minor chord. So middle on the G string 2nd fret, index on the E string 1st fret. Now here is where you could do it either way. You could play the ring finger on the B string 3rd fret or the pinky. I like pinky. I know all the textbooks generally say use that ring finger for a D minor chord. When I was studying classical guitar, you have to often switch to playing D minor with the pinky, so I'm much more used to that. You could get through this song either way, but I do like using the pinky. Once you're used to using the weaker finger, the advantage is the back of your hand relaxes much, much more. And every time I point that out to students when they learn D minor, they're like, oh yeah, it's like, yes, con is it's a weaker finger, pro, back of the hand relaxes, which in my opinion is much more important because you should be working on making your pinky a much stronger finger. So I'll demonstrate it with the pinky. Do what you like. So we've got the same rhythm, down, down, up, down, 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 down. But once you're into the 5th beat, you're going to lift your index finger to technically a D suspended 2nd. And do 2 strums with that. So we've got. Then we go into measure 2, and we can keep the middle and pinky on the same 2 notes from the D minor chord, and now we're only going to strum the D, G, and B string. Same down, down, up, down for the first half of the measure. So starting from the very beginning. Now we can switch into the middle finger still staying put, but now our index finger's on the B string, first fret. So for beat 4, we've got index finger, then beat 5, bring the pinky back to the 3rd fret of the B string, and then take off the pinky again so that your index finger's playing the 1st fret again. So beats 4, 5, and 6 go. So all of measure 2 will go like this. And slowly. And that has the entire melody part of this, or the lyrics. I guess technically it'd probably end on the G chord. So we're into measure 3, where we have a G major chord. I do like using the voicing of the 4-finger G chord. So going through that, middle finger on the low E string, 3rd fret, index finger on the A string, 2nd fret, and then ring finger on the B string, 3rd fret, and pinky right underneath that on the E string, also 3rd fret. You've probably played that before. So the same rhythm applies. Down, down, up, down, 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 down. And guess what? You do it again. So let me play both back to back. And one more time. So just make sure that you're getting that strong 2-beat feel. Dot, 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 dot. So on beat 1, accent, and on beat 4, accent. Just like that. Let me interrupt myself. So for these 2 G major measures, if you want to spice them up just a little bit without getting annoying or overplaying, you can do hammer-ons with the index finger. And I think it would sound nice without, again, overplaying or doing something too off the wall. So it's not in the sheet music, I won't include it, but if you want to add it, here's how you would do it. So I think on beat 4, or the second half of each measure, that would be the place where you would do a grace note hammer-on. It's very subtle, and since it's on the low register of the guitar, it's not going to get in your face. So let me play the entire first line of the chorus with that little hammer-on. So again, very subtle, but might be a nice thing to just add in. It's a good technique to learn, especially with a G major chord, with anything folksy style. So if you haven't done it, it's worth doing because you'll see it a lot. All right, line 2 of the chorus. It's the first measure is starting exactly the same. So again, we haven't done anything different. On beat 5, you would lift that index finger to the open string. And then in measure 2, the first half of it is also exactly the same as the previous second measure of the chorus. So let me demonstrate up to that point. Now, technically, it is the same here, finger-wise. It's going to be index, pinky on 3, back to index on the B string, but the rhythm is just a tiny bit different with the vocal melody. So we've got So I had to go into the next chord for the context because just ending on that up strum is going to feel weird. But the rhythm of it goes 4, 4, 5, 6, So the rhythm there, beat 4 with the index, normal. When you put your pinky back down on beat 5, you're going to hold that a little bit longer, an extra 16th note value, and then a quick 16th note up strum back to the index note. And then you're going to go into this E minor 7. So let me show you up to the E minor 7 so that you can hear this rhythm come together. So for the E minor 7, we've got index on the B string 2nd fret, middle right underneath that on the D string 2nd fret, and then I like pinky again on the B string 3rd fret. So that's the chord we're going into. So now that you're hearing that in context and with that next downbeat, let me talk about 2 things about that specific point. So the first thing is just when you have a 16th note rhythm going into a strong downbeat or a whole new measure, here it's going into a whole new measure and a whole new chord. If you're not used to that rhythm, there's a very simple way of thinking about it. Instead of doing a bunch of complicated counting, you just say, ta-da! You know, you got your magic trick, ta-da! That's the rhythm. So when you go, ta-da! That's the rhythm. Ta-da! And then when you're doing that up strum to get the timing right, if you notice when I'm strumming, I'm doing a ghost strum to keep the timing going instead of, you'll see this a lot with beginners and some intermediates where you would have, you would just hold your hand down here and then do an up down, but it's better to keep that hand going and keeping that constant 16th note down, up, down, up, down, up. So it's very subtle. If you already naturally do that, perfect. If it's something that you haven't done yet, might have to take a while to get used to that sort of thing, those ghost strums, but they do help a lot with keeping timing. So just something to point out when you're doing that. So let's go back into measure 2, and then we'll play all of measure 3 with this E minor 7, same rhythm as before. And then finally we get to the last measure of the chorus, which is A major. I think I have it listed as using fingers 1, 2, and 3. I think sometimes I do like to go fingers 2, 3, 4. I would say I probably play it differently depending on how I'm feeling in the moment, but I think I do prefer fingers 2, 3, and 4. So I will demonstrate it that way. Starting from the E minor 7. And then one slowly. And then after that, you'd go right back into the verse, D major. So you'd have. And so on and so forth. And there you have it, Norwegian Wood by the Beatles in a chord melody style. Again, like I mentioned before, this is my favorite one for people who want to do fingerstyle, but they're not quite ready to make that leap over. This is a great place to start without memorizing a bunch of fingerpicking patterns. And if this helped you level up, hit the like button and subscribe for more songs with practical techniques that make you better fast. Sheet music is in the description. When you want personalized guidance, check out the private lesson link below. And when you want more intermediate chord songs to play, check out the playlist here as I keep adding more. Keep playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson. And if this helped you level... Okay, slow down. I know we're at the end of the video, but you can relax. It's been a long video. You're doing it with a cold.